Hello, Radiant One, and welcome to the Golden Frequency, the show and podcast sharing wisdom, experiences, tools, and knowledge for and from the new era, weaving the worlds of seen and unseen, spiritual and practical, magical and mundane. I'm your host, spiritual business coach, energy alignment method mentor, catalyst, and facilitator, Maria Serafina. I serve soul-driven, heart-based spiritual entrepreneurs, business owners, Magdalene's Rising, and golden great keepers wanting to grow and expand from within, as well as lead with love in business and life. If you've yet to join my sacred newsletter community of Radiant Ones here to support the unveiling, the awakening, transformation, and healing of all through the lifting of the frequency and the vibration of our realm, personally and collectively, I invite you to join us. Go to mariaserafina.com/DCIA. You'll also receive my free Divine Clarity and Inspired Action Guide, which I've created for you. Divine Clarity and Inspired Action is designed to help you connect deeply with your divine feminine essence of gnosis, wisdom, knowledge, and intuition, as well as activate your divine masculine essence of action, creation, foundation, expansion, and building, so that you may experience the satisfaction and liberation that comes from bringing to life that which you're here to birth, while being, doing, and living your soul's divine purpose. On my website, you'll also find show notes, transcripts, and previous episodes. Know that I always encourage you to listen with an open heart and an open mind, and take only what serves you and leave the rest. It is my deep honor, my great pleasure, and joy to share this episode with you. Here is today's episode. Hello, Radiant One, and a very warm welcome into this episode where we're going to be diving into what to do when you're starting over. And I want to start by saying that I was so excited about this episode that I woke really early. My cat woke me up and I couldn't fall back asleep, and I just had to get up. I've been so excited to shoot this episode because I know that it's something that's coming up for a lot of people in a lot of different ways. And so I wanted to give you my take on this. And like I said, we're diving into what to do when you're starting over. And I'm going to be sharing both practical things, but also, internal things that you can do, or I don't want to say should be doing, but that will be valuable for you to be implementing and using. So first of all, I want to define what starting over means. And so for those that I work with, or those in my circles, there are like two different levels. Number one is that you may have had like a corporate career. Maybe you're a really successful realtor who's realizing that you want to be, a yoga teacher, or a spiritual business coach, or an Akashic record reader, or something that has to do with the holistic realm. Maybe you're a nurse and you're wanting to create a holistic health program. You've seen throughout your years of working as a nurse, you've seen all of these different ways that Western medicine is not implementing, perhaps isn't medicine, or doesn't have a holistic perspective on things. So you wanted to create a program that is about health. Maybe you are a logistical manager or a shipping manager who has been in administration for years. You've had contacts all over the world, and you're wanting to go into being an acupuncturist or a massage therapist, again in a holistic way. Or it could be that you are either of those things. Maybe you are a spiritual business coach who's gone from doing one-on-one services and one-on-one sessions, and you wanting to expand into doing group programs more and more. Hello, that's currently where I'm at, and I think that's partly why this episode is coming up. First of all, because it's to share it with myself, but also to share it with you, and because I see it over and over and over again in the clients that I work with. You may also be the yoga teacher. You've come the yoga teacher and now you're wanting to expand. Maybe you're wanting to build a teacher program. Maybe you're wanting to create an app or write a book or start a podcast or something else that's coming through you. You may also be having had in-person sessions or clients. You've been seeing people in person, and now you're wanting to move and take that online. Maybe you want to take your knowledge and your wisdom and you want to create an online program, or you want to do a combination of those things. So when I say starting over, that's what I mean. And just to be clear, it has nothing to do with age. You can be 23 and starting over. You can be 53 and starting over. You can be 73 and starting over. It doesn't have to do with age. It has to do with really the feeling of where you're at. You've gone for the period of time, and now something else is asking to be born through you. There's something new that's coming through you, and you're wanting to bring that to life. And so it seems as though you're quote unquote starting over. And the things that I'm going to be sharing are not in any particular order, although I think that maybe the first one or two are like sequential, but the rest is really like a mix of things. So just know that. And the first thing that you want to do when you're starting over is to remember that love is the way. If you've had a revelation or a download, an insight that you know that you've been on the corporate path and you're wanting to move into a more holistic or spiritual business, that usually comes when your divine feminine essence has risen. You've had that connection, that reconnection to source, and there's something that's asking to be born through you, and it's growing bigger and bigger, and it literally won't go away. And you may be really frustrated because it doesn't seem to be coming out. I'm going to share about that in one of the next tips. But maybe it's not coming, so you get frustrated. But I want you to remember as much as possible that love is the way, and there is a reason why you had this idea or this download or this notion. That is because it is supposed to be coming through you. And as you expand the love that you are, the love within you, more and more ideas, more and more things will be coming through you, because that is the nature of love. It's expansive, it's growing, it ripples out. So that is, so that's the first one. And I also want to say, really love yourself up. Starting on this path of starting over can be really, really, vulnerable. And so shower yourself with love, acknowledge yourself for being willing to even look at this idea, to be willing to move forward with this. Not everyone will do it. And so it's important that you remind yourself of that love. The next thing to do when you're starting over is have a beginner's mindset. A beginner's mindset is so important for you to have, because while you may have been really successful in another area, to give an example, I was really successful in my former career as a key account manager for a huge financial acquirer. So starting my business, I was, truth be told, I've been really surprised many times of the many, many challenges and what I now know to be what I call the 7 initiations. I'll share about them in another tip further along this video or podcast. But I've been really surprised that, I could give presentations, I could make negotiations, I could sign contracts, I had no problem selling everyone and their grandmothers, but myself, like my own services, when I came to that in my business, that was an interesting journey for me. And again, I'll share more about that later on. Then with the beginner's mindset, remember whenever you're starting, and it's so, because you're probably really powerful, really strong, you were born to lead, you've done amazing things in your life. and in your business probably as well, or in your work. And so when we're starting something new, it's easy for us to be like, oh, I should know this, I should know this, I should know that, and to completely forget that it's literally like starting to ride a bike. And I share that you should. I encourage you to speak to yourself as you would if it was a friend or a child. Very rarely do we speak to ourselves in the way that we would, or do we speak to friends in the way that we speak to ourselves, especially internally. And so having that understanding of, oh, I am new at this. There's a reason why I don't know this. And some of the things that you have done in your past, I was going to say past life, but in your previous career or your previous work or job may be applicable to the new. And it's about finding those structures and foundations that work for you, but maybe they don't. And so it's about acknowledging yourself for where you're at and understanding, oh, I'm a beginner. This is something new, which is a great place to be, because being a beginner means that there's so much for you to learn and to expand and grow into. So that's the beginner's mindset. The next thing is that when you're starting over, it's I can hardly speak this because being an Aries, this is a lifelong lesson for me, but it's patience. It is that Rome wasn't built in a day, and that when you're starting something new, you're doing it as a marathon, not a sprint. You're building something that's going to be sustainable in your business, not something that's just going to be a quick fix. Well, that's what I assume. I don't think that you would be here if that was the case. Or by now you would have left if you'd heard me talk this way. So the remember that you're creating or building something that's sustainable, something that is long term, something that is and that takes step by step by step by step. It takes patience. And I understand that we have, with the world, I mean, luckily it's shifting, but we've been taught to believe that everything happens overnight and there are quick fixes and things like that can just change everything in an instant, and that's not simply true. Yes, there are brilliant tools to shift your energy, which I will also be talking about later on this episode, but to be putting something into the world that you're going to be sharing with the world, you want to make sure that it is through your heart, from your heart, and that it is sustainable, that it is foundational. And also don't get caught up in, it's got to be perfect, because perfection is the mother of all. So that's the next thing. Perfectionism, stay out of perfectionism. And how do you know that perfectionism is showing up? When you're starting something new, if you're spending way too much time nitpicking and writing things and researching and doing, not saying that you don't do your research, not saying that you don't take your time writing things, but there's a difference between having a creation time and then allowing it to fly and put it into the world, and then consistently being in that, I'm going to research more, I need to learn more, I need to have this education, I need to have that accreditation, I need to do this before blah, blah, blah. And it's all of these, I have to or should do this before I can X, Y, and Z. And so perfection, don't stay out of it, but be on the lookout for it, whether or not it's tripping you up. So I like to say, is this serving you? Does it uplift you, or does it tear you down? And if the research you're doing, and if it seems like these detours sometimes that we go on, if they're taking you off path and they're making you more irritated and frustrated, be on the lookout for that. It's like a dissonance within you. It's like something is like rubbing up against you in the wrong way, and that's very often perfectionism, who's stuck their head in and said hello. And again, there's nothing wrong with perfectionism. It's also part of what makes you really good at what you do and who you are. It's what ensures that what you put out is of quote unquote high quality and high standard. But don't trip over it. So, and then a very practical thing. is make time, take time, time management. If you have if you're running a successful business, or even if you're having, maybe you have a 9 to 5 job, maybe you're doing a part-time, maybe you're having something on the side as well, whatever it is, the new thing that you like, the thing that you're starting over with, the thing that's wanting to come through you, will not happen unless you make time for it. You have to make sure that you can carve out time for it. I've had people write books using 15 minutes every morning to just sit down and write, create programs or services, taking that time to whether it is 2 hours here and 15 minutes here, or whatever it is, make sure that you actually schedule that time, schedule that in, because that will then, quote unquote, become legal for you to, oh, this is my time. Especially if you have a business that has to do with teams and you have employees and they want to, like, they need you, or they have questions for you. If you make sure that they know that this time is scheduled off, people will respect that. And if they don't, that's a whole nother story. It's about boundaries. So making sure that you make time to make that happen, so that thing that is coming through you, or you're starting over, can actually come through you. There was another thing that I was thinking about, but I can't remember that right now in terms of making time. Never mind. Then I have mentioned the 7 initiations. So these are 7 initiations or challenges that I've seen over my own journey, as well as that I have with my clients. Is there are these challenges, I call them initiations, because as we work through them, they become like powerful pillars that we stand upon. It's like we become stronger and stronger, and we expand more and more. And I just want to share them with you really briefly. The first, and they're in no particular order, again, although the first couple of ones are usually sequential. But the first one has to do with your mission and your vision. That is the realm of the divine feminine. That is when your ideas and your gnosis and your wisdom starts popping in. It's when you begin to feel the juices within you, and there's something that's asking to be born through you. The next one has to do with inspired and aligned action. That's the realm of the divine masculine. Usually there is healing to be done both within the divine feminine and the divine masculine realm, based on millennia of patriarchy, based on abuse and violence, and things that have been out of alignment, out of resonance. There's really, quote unquote, nothing wrong with it. It's just a matter of, as you begin your path as a soul-driven, heart-based spiritual entrepreneur, and you're starting over, then these are usually areas where healing is, I don't want to say required, but very often shows up. That's what I see. Then there is the marketing, promotion, social media, which is, I like to call speaking your truth. And like I said before, having come from a corporate career, being able to share this with everybody, it was really interesting in the beginning of my journey how I felt myself. My throat chakra was blocked. I felt that I was unable to speak my truth. I was scared of sharing my wisdom and my medicine and what I knew with the world, which is also connected to what some call the witch's wound or the healer's wound. So there's healing in that area or releasing to have happen in that area. There's your clients and your customers, which has to do with boundaries and created sacred containers, where very often I see how you can either go very corporate and be like, you have a heart-centered, soul-driven, heart-based spiritual business, and you can be very corporate and your contracts can be almost ununderstandable. They can be old paradigm, or they can be based in new paradigm with the same kind of container or the same kind of structure, but still be served in a way that is understandable and comes from the heart. It's also about boundaries, about saying yes or saying no, and knowing what to do when it comes to that. Then the next one has to do with selling and services, and that is to make sure that all your products and your services are aligned with and resonate with what it is that who you are. Very often we're being told, oh, you need to create a program or you need to do one-on-one. Very often, sometimes I meet people where they think they need to start out doing one-on-ones before they can do group work, or the other way around. People think that they need to do group work before they can do one-on-one. It's so interesting to see all of these. I don't know if I would call them limiting beliefs, but it's so interesting to see all these perceptions that we have that we build around why it is that we can't, sell or serve in the way that we want to sell and serve. So this is an invitation to you to see, like, are there things in your business where you're like, oh, that sounds like, is there something you want to let go of? Is there something you want to bring in that you're not doing because you have a perception that says, oh, I have to do this, or I have to have had X amount of clients before I can do this, or I have to have, made X amount of money before I can do this, which is very interesting. Then the final area is the area of money, wealth, and abundance, which is such a juicy, magnificent topic when it comes to soul-driven, heart-based spiritual businesses. No longer do we need to be sitting on a rock and in threadbare clothes and not making any money. But there is a lot of things to be usually released or aligned when it comes to that. So those were the 7 initiations. I'll be speaking more about them in a coming episode where I'll dive more into them because they're so juicy and vibrant to me, and they're so powerful once you understand how to release and align in each of these areas. Things will flow way easier. The final tip that I have for you in terms of what to do when you're starting over is what I call release and align. You may know that I use a method called the Energy Alignment Method, and I'm an accredited Energy Alignment Method mentor as well, meaning that but I have a daily practice where I release. And it's a 5-step process. It's a very simple process. And I don't want us to necessarily say easy because it's not always easy. The simplest things, I remember this when I started, when I became a student of A Course in Miracles, is that A Course in Miracles is very, very simple, but it is not easy. It is not what I found in the beginning, but once you begin to understand and how it works, it becomes it actually becomes so resonant that it's like a tuning fork. It's like, oh. And what I want to say so there are many ways that you can, I don't know that to be true, but the thing I want to share is that everything is energy. And you've probably heard that, meaning that whenever you're starting something new, there will be energy for you to shift and release. There's 3 states of energy. I'm not going to go deeply into it. What I have done is I've created a free download for you. So if you're wanting to know how to release and align, meaning how to shift and transform your energy, transmute it from one state to another, creating more flow, moving from a stuck and stagnant place into a place of flow, you can go ahead and you can download that free guide that I've created. There's a video, and there's going to be video with me walking through it. There's going to be a flow sheet so you can see what to do and know what to do. It's going to be at mariaserafina.com/EAM. And I will leave the link in the description as well, so you can go ahead and download it. Because as you move through as you're starting over, there will be limiting beliefs. There will be, you may be self-sabotaging. There may be upper limits. There may be things that are emotions that are coming up, things that you may not understand. And so EAM gives you a really beautiful, powerful, simple tool to quickly assess what's going on, release it, and then align you to that which you do want, which is so powerful, and I love it. So those are the things that I wanted to share with you in terms of what to do when you're starting over. I just want to quickly list them. So love is the way. Have a beginner's mindset. Patient, aka Rome wasn't built in a day. Make time, make sure you have time management, schedule time. The 7 initiations, and also release and align. And I know that there's one thing else that I forgot now, but it's been in the video, so hopefully you can go back or you can read the transcript, which you can find. There's going to be a link to this in the description as well, and you can read the transcript there. So now it's your turn. I would love to hear from you. What is the number one thing that you find has been tripping you up when it comes to starting over, possibly again? Leave a comment under this video, or go to the website and leave a comment. If you're listening to this via podcast, again, there is a link in the description, and I would love to hear from you. That is what I had for you. This was worth getting up early. I hope that it served you well, and sending loads of love wherever in the world you might be. Bye. Radiant One, I hope today's episode served you well. For all the deeds and details, click the link in the description. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend so that the love shared within this episode through our connection may be amplified and rippled further out into the world. Thank you. I love you.